Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers on radio and TV Jagrati. This is your special edition simulcast of The Digital Guru with yours truly, Panashiva Janak Maharaj. And we continue our sharing of information during this period of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The entire month of October has been designated National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where we make you more aware of the type of threats that you may be under in this digital world that we live in, and many of the things that we may take for granted. You will see very simple steps you can take towards keeping yourself safe. So thus far, we have discussed how to keep your family safe, how to keep your business safe, and today we go a little deeper, as today I have a very special guest with me, someone who has been on Digital Guru before, and he has joined me once again. So I introduce you to my special guest today as we discuss cyber issues that affect not only businesses, mostly businesses, but these you can also apply to your homes as well to keep yourself safe. And with my special guest is Glen Singh. He has been here with us before, and let me just give you some of the highlights of his qualification, because his qualifications are numerous here. It's a whole page of qualification when it comes to the field of ICT and information communications technology. However, he does have a BSc from the University of West Indies in computer science. He has a postgraduate diploma in strategic business and information technology from the UK. He also has a Masters of Science in strategic business and information systems and a Masters of Business Administration also. And so with those qualifications, he has worked in many places, and one of the places I want to highlight that he presently consults is the International Financial Corporation, because as we go along today and we speak about cybersecurity and risk, we will see that the financial institutes are, of course, one of the biggest institutes. So welcome, Sitaram Glen.
Sitaram Panditji, and Sitaram to the listeners and viewers on TV and Radio Jagrati. Thank you for having me once again on Digital
Always
Guru.
a pleasure to have the experts here to speak on the issues.
Thank you very much.
So from your resume, we see that you do have your qualification and your work experience, because you work in many of the public sector companies, large companies. Of course, we can't call names, right? Mm-hmm. But you have been in the IT and the project management industry field for quite many years. Yeah. And so over the years, you would have been, like myself, someone who have grown in the industry and seen these risks come more and more prevalent each day.
That's correct. That's correct.
So to start things off today, can you give us an idea of the type of growth that there are in terms of the cyber threats?
Yes.
Maybe some companies.
So the threats in terms of cybersecurity and cyber issues has grown tremendously over the years. We've even noticed from year to year that the growth continues exponentially. All right. For one large security company, I don't want to call the name, but one that is very respected, one of those blue chip companies, they have a report of roughly 52 million events that has happened in 2015, right? In terms of the number of attacks, well over 10,000 attacks, direct attacks on Fortune 500 and 1,000 companies, right? Even locally in Trinidad, we have had the context where, I wouldn't call the names, but a number of banks, right, and other financial institutions have been and constantly under cyber attack, right? Something very simple as your ATM practices, or a lot of them are now going into online mobile apps, etc.
Most of our listeners and viewers are aware of the skimming.
Yes, the skimming of the cards and the scanners and that kind of stuff. All these are cyber threats and attacks that are happening currently.
You know, recently, one of the videos we showed how easy it was to, with the latest cards. So this guy just had a device in his pocket, walking around and pulling the information.
Correct. They don't actually need to have your
physical
card
contact or the card itself.
Or swipe the card. Now it's simply a matter of just walking past you. Sometimes it might be a touch or not, and they have that information. Right? So the importance now relies on you being aware and paying attention, and of course putting some very simple things that we'll share with you later on in the program that you can put in place to guide and guard yourself and your business against these threats.
In your explanation there, you mentioned some words, and I think for our general listening, we should have some idea of what an event is, what an attack is.
So generally, when we talk about security events and threats, etc., we categorize them into about 3 main categories. So we talk about a security event, all right, where a security event really is one where it happens on the system or the network and it is detected. So it's one that has been noticed, right, and it's logged. So whether you have firewalls in place, whether you have security software in place, etc., once it's an event, right, it has been noted and it's logged.
On the technical level, it's noted.
Right, so we know it's there, and it's something that, of course, we have processes and plans in place to deal with it. So that's the first one, an event.
Before you go forward, what happens if it's not detected?
Well, that's another problem. If it goes undetected, right, of course they have your data, your information, and a number of things can happen. So we're talking about they can go from taking that information, using it maliciously or for their own gain. And a lot of times cyber criminals are really after financial gain. But things have changed. A cyber criminal now will not only look after financial gain, but they look at inflicting what we call physical damage now. They also want to look at stealing what we call IP, or intellectual property, stuff that they could leverage or stuff that they could sell later on to other parties. As well as sometimes cyber criminals are simply making a point. So as a form of political protest, they simply want to hack, bring down a website, bring down a company, right, bring down individuals or group of individuals to make a political point. So those are some of the issues that we have coming up.
So we understand what an event is. It's
right.
detected.
So the event is detected. That's the simplest one because we of course have software looking for threat types, etc. And then of course we have an attack. So when an attack happens, what happens is that it's a security event and it's been happened and it has happened. And the tools themselves now have decided that this threat, right, or the security event can pose a difficulty, or it can pose, let's say, a risk to the company. So we now move this up, or we classify it now as an attack. So we have an event at the base level, and we now realize an attack is happening, right? And then, of course, we have certain policies and procedures that would start to take place, right? System shutting down, we're looking for who is the cause of the attack. And attacks are a little bit more serious because we, of course, in an attack scenario, you, of course, now have the opportunity of prosecuting.
So last week we spoke about targeting.
Yes.
So at the attack level is where you realize you're being targeted.
Yes, you are now being targeted. So the event now has materialized, right? And of course you can identify by using analytics, by using different software tools, etc., that okay, an attack is in place, right? And then of course you respond to the attack.
Incident.
Yes, correct. So now of course it becomes a security incident. So this is the highest level. It means something is happening, and in this incident, we are now investigating the attack. So we have gone through these steps. So we have an event, an attack, and now we're investigating the incident, right? Good. And of course, sitting and working with the company or the individual so that it doesn't happen again.
And for our home users out there, you know, this might sound technical, and I might think it's only for business.
Correct.
But
correct.
Do you think this is only for business? You're the expert.
So it's not. And I'm glad you raised that point, Pandit, because what has happened is that everybody can be affected by the cybercrime. We have people, everyone uses an ATM on a daily basis, right? We have issues of people having their credit card. You swipe your credit card once, twice, 3, 4 times for the day, right? You can be affected by that because that information can go elsewhere. And we also have, of course, a lot of people now going into the event of mobile banking, where you're transferring funds
from your mobile phone,
from your mobile phone, etc.
Computers at home.
So, and they're doing it online, you're doing it via your phone, etc. So these are incidences where on the consumer side, the financial sector is exposed to a lot of financial threats, right? And of course, cyber attacks.
Okay. So let's just take a little break from the discussions and share with you a video, because last week we did speak about encryption and how encryption is one method we can use, and we'll discuss encryption in context of whatever we are speaking about here after. But let's share a video with you on how encryption can help you to protect your data.
Today, with companies transmitting an increasing amount of information over the internet, more and more sensitive business data is put at risk. It's now easier than ever for you and your employees to send information from a laptop, phone, or other computer anywhere you go. And that also means that your data is more open to attack by hackers and thieves. Managed service providers and IT management companies use a variety of methods to help keep critical business data safe, including data encryption. These companies use data encryption as an advanced security tool to ensure the protection and confidentiality of your important information. So what exactly does encryption mean? Data encryption is a key part of any business's IT security plan. Simply put, encryption means to put data into a kind of secret code in order to protect it and disguise it. Only a person or a computer who understands the code will be able to decipher the information. In terms of data protection, encryption is vital in keeping your confidential information protected and secure. When you send sensitive information such as credit card or bank account numbers over the internet, you want that information to be inaccessible if it gets into the wrong hands. Therefore, encryption works to hide this information from anyone who shouldn't have access to it. Codes have been used for hundreds of years to send sensitive information. Today, computer-generated algorithms are guides for encryption. They provide a way to create a message and secure it much more effectively than a human-created code. When it comes to encryption, there are many different levels available. In general, the higher the encryption level or complexity of the code used, the safer your information will be. High encryption levels protect you against brute force attacks in which thieves or hackers use a computer program to simply try out various combinations of characters to see if they are able to crack the code. Higher levels of encryption increase the number of possibilities that must be tried to access a particular document, account, or file. So, 128-bit encryption is much more secure against brute force attack than a 40-bit encryption, and a 256-bit encryption is stronger than 128-bit. When it comes down to it, data encryption provides an important layer of protection for a business's data. Encryption technology is available for both on-site and off-site storage, providing peace of mind and security for data regardless of where it's located.
Radio and TV Jagrati joins with local National Cybersecurity Awareness Month champion ICT Experts Limited in promoting Cybersecurity Awareness Month 2016. In week 3 of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we focus on cyber criminals, specifically how they attack people and what you can do to stop them. We have a tremendous number of resources to help you, starting with the following. On Tuesday 18th, you will receive a security awareness newsletter on ransomware. This has become a very common and highly successful attack technique used by cybercriminals around the world. You need to be aware of this. On Wednesday 19th, we will have a special guest on how cybercriminals attack people and what you can do to stop them on the program Digital Guru, broadcasting live on Radio and TV Jagrati, the official stations for National Cybersecurity Awareness Month from 4 to 5 p.m. On Thursday 20th, we will share information with you focusing on one of the most important steps you can do to protect yourself and your account from cyber criminals, enabling two-step verification. On Friday 21st, we will distribute a poster on how you can identify and stop phishing attacks, one of the most common attack methods used by cyber criminals today. On Saturday 22nd, we will be hosting a free cyber safety awareness session for parents and business owners on how to protect your kids and business online from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the El Dorado North Hindu School. Remember, you are free and in fact encouraged to print and share digitally all materials posted on our various social media pages under the name IT in TT with your employees, family, friends, and neighbors. If you have any questions about our activities in October or suggestions on how to improve our cybersecurity efforts, please contact ICT Experts Limited. Visit our website www.itinttt.com. That's ITINTT, or call 692-ICTE. That's 692-4283.
Sitaram, and welcome back to the Digital Guru. And you have a special edition here of Digital Guru in the month of October as Radio and TV Jagrati joins with ICT experts as we promote National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And today we are discussing some of the major threats that we have, or cyber threats that we have, both at business and at home. And we are also given some clues and some hints as to how you can protect yourself from these types of attacks. So far, today I have my special guest with me, a security and IT consultant in many industries, including the financial industry, where your information needs to be very secure. And it comes without thinking that we know why that needs to be so. And we have discussed so far, the difference between the incidents and attacks and incidents and how they are reported events. And so we know, Mr. Singh, that they will have some sort of categorization of the incidents that have been reported. And as I say reported, it's also good to make mention that many are not reported, because we know that some institutions have fear of losing reputation and so on, especially a financial institution.
Yeah,
they won't want to admit that they have been, compromised, because that their customers will lose faith in them. So we could understand to certain levels that there will be a lot that are not reported. But of those that have been reported, can we put them in some sort of order, maybe from the least occurring to the most occurring and categories?
So basically, once, and thank you, Panaji, and you're correct, a lot of companies not only refuse, but are very afraid of admitting, yes, we've been hacked or we've been attacked, etc. Because it does affect your standing in the community, right? And of course, it also affects consumer confidence in the business too. But we're here to say that really and truly, it has happened in a number of different categories, and a number of incidents happen, right, across the board. Some of the ones that have been for 2015 reported the most would have been very simply basic access, or what we call credential abuse. And that's something very simple, where people who have access, and this is normally people that are known to a company, employees, the known factor we call it. So they basically are where they're not supposed to be. And by being where they're not supposed to be, either the company doesn't have access card in place, or the rack might be open, or the server room door might be unlocked, etc., no access code, etc. So they simply walk in and they read stuff. Sometimes it might be very simple, where they go and they see inadvertent documents on someone's desk, and they read it. So that is still one of the key areas of companies losing confidential data, right? So that's basic access and credential abuse. And another key one we have is what we call suspicious activity or sustained probes. So you might actually have what we call specific attacks. We talked earlier on the phishing attack. I think you would have covered it, where people basically using social engineering to try and get you to open an email or an attachment and then gain access to your machine and steal information. So similarly, we have what we call sustained probes and attacks. In 2015, there was something called a shell shock attack, where they were using a script based on a very popular Unix operating system, which a lot of the banks, a lot of financial institutions use. And it's something that was known for about 20 years or something. It existed, but it was only discovered in the last year, right? So, and that was exploited by trying to get into a back door, and of course continually probing and see, of course, they can get access to it. The other major one, and this is number 2 in the list, is of course malicious code. So as we talked about the phishing attacks, or opening emails from people they don't know, or trying to open an attachment, and the attachment doesn't have to be something out of the way in terms of pornography or anything like that. It might be something as simple as a sale,
Yeah.
or a Christmas sale
Click
coming
here
up,
for
or a
sale.
Diwali promotion or something like that, and you see an attachment and they say open the attachment, you know.
Actually, I actually saw one recently
Yes.
with saying that your PayPal
Has-
account is going
requires
to be
updates.
deactivated
Yes,
or some
correct.
sort of thing.
And then it's very easy.
They
to-
look very legit.
correct. And how do you know these aren't legit Pandit? Very easy. You just look to see who it's from.
Where it's from.
You look at the return address and see if it's really from PayPal or if it's from mypaypal.com.
And for those who are new and hearing the term phishing for the first time, we did discuss it on our program before for Safer Internet Day when
Right.
we were here on last. It's not FISH but PHISH, and if it is that as you heard in our ad just now, that we will be sharing more information on how to identify phishing on our social media, IT and TT, on Facebook and Twitter, so forth. On Friday, we'll be sending out information on how to identify the phishing email scams.
Yes. And I think right now the number one way of losing what we call confidential or proprietary data is really through what we call unauthorized access, where people either through gaining passwords or giving up passwords. Sometimes very simple. Someone calls you, they say, hello, yes, I'm from IT. Is your password working? And you say, well, I think so. So what's your password, by the way? And you simply give it. You never
thinking.
ask the person's name. You don't ask them what company, what IT section. You just simply give them a username and password. And they, of course, log in and they download whatever they have to download and they're out the door. Very easy.
Credentials, stealing.
So unauthorized access has remained the number one way from both 2014 into 2015 of the most frequently occurring incidents that have been reported.
So we will see a close link to most of these incidents to the human factor. You know, that's where I always stress on that the humans are sometimes the weakest link. I actually delivered a paper for the Ministry of National Security on the human as the weakest link in a security
scenario. That's correct.
So, however, we also do have those malicious attacks, and we have our next video to share with you on malware, malicious software. You know, malware comes from two words, malicious software. So let's view this information from this video and we come back to discuss.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, a consumer experience specialist at Google. Today I'm going to talk to you about malicious software, also known as malware, and how you can protect your computer from infection. First, let's talk about how you get malware. Malware is often installed on your computer without your knowledge when you visit certain websites. Sometimes these are good sites that have been compromised by malware creators, and other times they're simply bad sites built to distribute malicious software. Malware may also be installed when you download a file that appears to be legitimate, but is actually doing things that you didn't want or expect it to do. Malware has been known to do things like delete data on your computer, steal personal information such as credit card numbers and passwords, send spam email, or even attack other networks and computers. One of the most common symptoms of malware that our users report is being taken to an unexpected site after clicking on a search result. These sites are often spammy. But malware can also cause pop-ups, unwanted toolbars, and other strange behavior. To avoid malware from infecting your computer in the first place, it's a good idea to follow a few general guidelines. First, upgrade your operating system and all of your software to the latest versions. Check for new versions regularly, and if possible, turn on automatic updates. Be careful not to click on links that you don't know the destination of or download files from a source that you don't trust. Similarly, before you download email attachments or click links in an email, make sure you trust the sender. And finally, make sure that you're running up-to-date antivirus software. If you think you've already got malware, you can usually also use antivirus software to detect and remove it. There are a number of programs that can remove the most common malware, although you may need to try more than one to catch every instance on your computer. And again, remember to keep all of your antivirus software up to date. If you do find a site in our search results that installs unwanted programs on your computer or redirects you somewhere that you did not intend to go, please let us know. Your report will help us improve the quality of our search results. To learn more about malware, please visit our Help Center. Thanks, and safe browsing.
Sitaram, and welcome back to a special simulcast on the official stations, radio and TV Jagrati for National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, as we have Radio and TV Jagrati has joined with ICT experts as we bring the awareness to you, our listeners and viewers, and also this is rebroadcast on YouTube, so that those of you and your family members who you know would benefit from the information that we share on Digital Guru, they can go and view. That's YouTube. You just look for our channel, It in TT or IT in TT. That's our YouTube channel. And of course, all the free information, every single day we share information on how you can keep your family and your business safer online. As you have heard on many of the ads on Radio and TV Jagrati, we'll also be having our seminar for parents, grandparents, caregivers, teachers, anybody who has to supervise a child who uses technology. You need to be there at the El Dorado North Hindu School on Saturday coming from 2:30 p.m. where we will have that free seminar on telling you things you can do to prevent and to help keep the safety of your children, especially online. With me today on a special edition is our special guest, Mr. Singh, Mr. Glen Singh, who is an IT and security specialist and consultant and has worked in many of the fields. And we were discussing, how the breaches that may occur, and we have categorized them. Can you give us a little idea now of the sectors of the businesses that are affected by cyber security?
All right, so thank you, Pandaji. So really and truly, the breaches we identified, who are the ones that would really do it, right? Now it's important to remember that the bad guys generally are the guys that are inside of the company. Yeah? So the majority of incidents and attacks, etc., really and truly come from inside, not outside.
Inside job.
Most of the times, right? What was surprising to us in 2015 is that healthcare, once again, which has normally been within the top 10 but never in the top 5, they generally sit on the sidelines. Healthcare has become number one.
Just to clear up though, as I was thinking, I don't want employers thinking, they have people inside just looking to release. Yes, you will have those type of bad guys. When we say bad guys, they might do something or not do something that they are supposed to do that will make the breach.
Yes.
So it's not that they intentionally want to steal.
Yeah, so
not all of them.
Right, so correct. We don't want to go and interrogate every single employee now. But what happens is that in a lot of companies, ones that I've worked with and even ones that I have visited, etc., from your contractors, your consultants, your full-time employees, everyone, you are mandated, even before you get your foot in the door, to do not only a health and safety course, but more importantly, or just as important I should say, is a security awareness course. And you have to do the course, and there's a little test at the end, you have to pass it to her, and they will actually show you how you cannot make the mistakes that make you as a person inside of the company a threat, right? Yeah. So really and truly, when we say people, the insiders, we don't want to interrogate each employee. It's really just about looking and making sure that everybody knows what their responsibility is when it comes to the company, the data, and securing that data, right? So that's important as well. But as I was saying, Pandit GM, in terms of the healthcare, we were shocked because the healthcare is very, very relaxed in terms of the employment. I just showed that nice video there.
They have a lot
encryption,
of data.
And they have a lot of data, but they're very lax in terms of encryption. How many times you go into your doctor's office and there's a little filing cabinet without a lock, and he opens that, he takes out your card, and your entire medical history is on that card. And whenever he needs another one, he just adds the card and staples it, and everything is there. All right. Now you could imagine if that gets into the wrong hands. You have issues of insurance, you have issues of your own personal confidentiality.
Sometimes the clerk goes in to help them with something, and there's the drawer open.
There's the drawer open, and anybody out, and 101 patients outside. So how is that secure? You understand? So sometimes healthcare has really gotten hit. Cyber threats wise, both there are a number of companies, insurance companies that deal with healthcare as well. They have been hit in the past year as well. So it really has taken a toll, and they've been shocked, all right? Another key one that has been hit last year as well is manufacturing, right? So manufacturers are normally always in the top 5, and last year they went up to number 2, right? They've been hit, the entire sector, because they have a lot of what we call connections
Proprietary
and proprietary information in terms of how they do stuff, how they create products, how they create services. Not only that, they need to link not only with the distributor sector, which is the people that sell the stuff they make, but they also have to link with upstream, people that supply them raw materials. So when they are hit, right, they lose on both sides, both consumer side data and vendor side data. Yeah. The other top, rounding on the top 5 would have been financial services, which is normally always one.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The government, because people do hack the government, not only to get specific information, but sometimes, as I pointed out earlier, political reasons and to make a point, right? And of course, transport. The reason transport has now kind of entered the foray, transport was never really in the top 5, but we've seen it happening in New York and other metropolitan areas, where once the transport system goes down, is mass chaos.
Right.
And with
create havoc.
It creates havoc. And with the issues of terrorism and cyber terrorism as well too, right? We have people trying to affect the transport sector and make that statement.
One, as you mentioned, the health sector there, one of the areas that we will have been promoting. Actually, yesterday we sent out information on ransomware.
Right.
Newsletter on ransomware. As we could guess again, just as malware was a combination of 2 words, malicious and software.
Right.
Ransomware, again, it's software and a ransom.
Yeah.
As we know, when somebody has something of worth to you and they keep it and say, if you want it back, you have to
pay
to access it. And we sent out that information. It's free. It's there on all our social media, IT and TT. You can go, you get that totally free. But just to explain, we have a video to explain what it is, ransomware is, and how it actually hits health sector.
Health sector, yeah.
But first, a look at what's become the latest threat to our cybersecurity. The problem took on new urgency recently when a hospital in Los Angeles had its entire computer network, including all its digital medical records, locked up by hackers. They demanded a ransom before they'd release the computers. It was the second such attack this month. LA's health department was hit last week. These types of computer attacks, which usually target individual computer users, are on the rise. The NewsHour's William Brangham reported on this threat last year, and now he brings us an update.
Ina Simone is retired. She's a mother and grandmother from Russia who now lives outside of Boston. In the fall of 2014, her home computer started acting strangely.
My computer was working terribly. It was not working. I mean, it was so slow.
A few days later, while searching through her computer, Ina saw dozens of these messages. They were all the same. They read, "Your files are encrypted. To get the key to decrypt them, you have to pay $500. Her exact deadline, December 2nd at 12:48 p.m., was just a few days away. All of her files were locked. Tax returns, financial papers, letters, even the precious photos of her granddaughter Zoe. Ina couldn't open any of them.
It says if you won't pay, your fine will double. If you won't pay by then, all your files will be deleted and you will lose them forever and never will get back.
Ina Simone, like thousands of others, had been victimized by what's known as a ransomware attack. Hackers, who law enforcement say come mainly from Eastern Europe or Russia, managed to implant malicious software onto your computer, usually when you mistakenly open an infected email attachment or visit a compromised website. That software then allows the hackers to lock up your files or your entire computer until you pay them a ransom to give it back. Justin Kapos is a computer security expert at New York University.
It will actually lock you out of the files, the data on your computer. So you'll be able to use the computer, but those files have been encrypted by the attacker with a key that only they possess. It's frustrating because you know the data is there. You know the files are there. You know your photos and everything is there and could be accessible to you, but you have no way of being able to get at it because of this encryption that the attackers are using.
There we would have gotten some information, and you would have seen that it's not only businesses have to worry about ransomware. We see an old little granny who does doing her normal stuff on the internet was also held for ransom. All her granddaughter's pictures and everything was held for ransom and you had to pay to access back your data. So we're running quickly out of time, so we'll continue on this topic next week as we continue National Cybersecurity Month, Awareness Month. I will continue, and I will start back with ransomware as we continue into our topics for next week. So as we had our special guest, Mr. Glen Singh, we'll ask you to wrap up and whatever advice you have for listeners and viewers in a nutshell, how they can probably keep themselves safe.
All right, thank you very much, Pandaji. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you to all the listeners for your indulgence. So, really and truly, as we watch your ransomware video, I just would like to tell people, please don't panic if that happens to you, right? You can send us an email here on ICT Experts, to Pandaji, and even myself, and we will always advise you. So there are always ways to get back your stuff.
itntt.com, you can go there and get all our contact information.
Right. Please don't pay the ransom because a lot of times you wouldn't get back the files, right? But we'll talk more on that another time. But the number one thing I want to tell everybody about cybersecurity and ensuring that you're safe is really to really be aware. Yeah. Pay attention, and of course ensure that the steps, and in same way at home where you have policies in place, right, for your kids, you tell them not to talk to strangers, etc. You need to put those same type of procedures in place for the internet access and their cyber access, right? Once that is done, right, it makes it very easy so that you have a policy and a process to follow, right? The same way we can create these processes and policies on paper, we can create them on hardware and software. You can create these things on your routers, etc., to secure your home network and things like that, so that everything is safe. Ensure your firewalls are up to date, ensure your antivirus is up to date.
We have been sharing that information on our social media, all that to securing from your networks. Everything is there on ITNTT, on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail+, Google+, and YouTube. Please visit and get that information. So thank you very much, Glen.
Thank you, Pandaji, for having me here.
For joining us once again. As we say, Sitaram and good afternoon to each and every one of you. Be cyber safe. This is your digital guru, Pandachiva Janak Maharaj. Until we see you again next week.